All right, now we're talking about the Beehive Brain Box Learning System. This is Orientation 93, and for the Beehive Brain Box Learning System, lesson number 4 for parents. We have our card deck. It's been populated by some cards throughout the week. This is the next day, and what are we going to do? We are going to start with the cards behind the number 5. And what happens with the cards behind 5? Well, we have our good old A and A. Okay, we have the A's, and yes, we know them. So we were going to put them behind weekly. Now, I hope by this point you understand that you go backwards through the numbers and you check out what is behind number 4. If the student knows it, it advances behind number 5. Then you go to number 3, the cards behind number 3. If the child knows it, it advances behind number 4. You go to 2. If the child knows what's behind 2, it advances to behind 3. And then you go to 1, which sometimes and normally does include additional information that the child has picked up that particular day, a math fact, capital of a state perhaps, or a concept that they need to know, or a mnemonic, whatever it may be. When it's behind number 1, if you know it, it advances behind 2. At any time that a student does not know a fact, even if it's behind I know these, which we'll talk about in a little bit, it goes back behind number 1, because obviously the child does not have that in long-term memory. We are going to pretend that we have advanced some cards behind weekly, the double A's. Now, on these cards, when it comes up to doing them on a weekly basis, we do have a chart, which I will include, that helps you to determine a little bit about when you're going to study your cards when they get behind I know these. But on a weekly basis, what you want is you want to know the cards for 4 weeks in a row. So what are you going to do? On the card the first week, you're just going to put a little hash mark right here. Okay? You just put a little hash mark right there. The second week, you're going to put another one. The third week, a third hash mark. And the fourth week, a fourth hash mark. Go through these cards, pick a day that you're going to go through them on the weeklies, and after you have known them for 4 weeks, you can advance it to behind I know these. Now, when they get behind I know these, you are going to do those once a month. And that's what I was talking about, having a chart that will tell you what subjects to do which day of the month, because in the first week you're going to want to do maybe your math and your English facts. The second week maybe your history and your science facts. The third week perhaps your health facts and your music facts. And then the next week maybe your religion facts and another subject you're studying, so that you can plan it out, schedule out your work as we talked about before, so that you're not doing all the cards that are behind I know these every week. Also, it's important to keep them in their subjects. Don't mix them up, please. You should not do that. You don't want to mix the subjects up. You want to keep them definitely in subject sets and in subject decks, as I call them. Also, it's very important, keep the cards. And the reason I say that is that these cards, if you have other children coming up, will be very useful to them. They can also be used for grandchildren. So please, keep the cards. I know there's a little bit of a storage with that. That's why we suggest shoe boxes. But it's well worth it. Also, do not have more than 20 to 50 cards per deck. And it just depends upon the child's age, his abilities, and what the subject is, how many cards you choose to put in a deck. You know, there is a memory deck for the third Book of Mormon course, and I hesitate because there are 36 or more scriptures that need to be memorized in that course. I wouldn't put them all in one deck. I would split it up, maybe into 4 decks of 9, something like that, because you want the student to have the success idea. And if he has so many within one deck, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So just how many cards are in a deck or in a set that have all the way from the title card through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weekly, and I know these. That's kind of dependent again upon the age and the ability of the student and the difficulty of the subject. Well, I believe that's it, except I would like to say do keep the cards for a course. You're probably going to want it again. Thank you.